2023 NFL season prediction time, Dolphins fans. That's what we're talking about today on the Fins Up Network. It's one of my, I would say, traditions every single year. I go through every single game for every single team on the NFL schedule. Gives me who's going to make everyone's win-loss record, who's going to make the playoffs. I play out the playoffs. I've got a Super Bowl. That's what we're going to talk about today, but just more of a condensed Miami Dolphins version. So we're going to be talking about that, obviously, in today's video. But before I jump into that action, I want to kind of debut the next giveaway that we're doing on the Fins Up Network. As you can see, hopefully it's not too much of a glare there. Signed Jalen Waddle, 8x10 that can be yours. It's easy to get entered to win. That's what we're here to do. Make it easy for you. First and foremost, if you're haven't done so already, make sure you get subscribed. Got to be subscribed in order to win. Second, like the video, leave a comment on the video. Comments are the big thing that we're looking for in this giveaway. I'm going to actually end up tracking each person that leaves a comment on each video, starting with today's through the recap of the New England Patriots Sunday night football game against the Dolphins on week 2. So each video that you leave a comment on during that stretch, you're going to get entered with a chance to win. So if there's 5 videos, you leave a comment on all 5 of them, you're going to get 5 chances. Hopefully that's simple enough. But if you win, this puppy can be yours. We'll be drawing for a winner in the Dolphins Patriots recap video. So with the announcement out of the way, let's just jump into. I'm going to show my wins and losses right away. We're just going to get this. We'll get this portion right out of the way because I don't want to talk about each individual game per se. What I'm going to end up doing is breaking the season more so down into 4 quarters. I'm not going to go into much depth and detail about each game. That's what the weekly preview videos are for. So if you're subscribed, you'll see it then. But rather, I want to talk about your must wins, your tough stretches, other things besides more so just like the X's and O's of each and every opponent. Like I said, that's what the preview videos are for. So let's just jump right into things right now. I've got the full schedule going around the bottom, but let's jump into the first quarter of the season. You got at Chargers, at Patriots versus the Broncos, at the Bills. So the first thing that jumps off the screen is that, man, that's 3 out of your first 4 games that are on the road. That is not a great way to always start this season. That is a tough stretch. But the one thing I'll say when you look at this first trip against the LA Chargers, get that West Coast trip out of the way. Remember last year when our West Coast trip, I think we had it was like Chargers, it was 49ers, Chargers, and then back to Buffalo to play the Bills. A 3-game stretch, just brutal in the middle of the season. Well, we got our West Coast trip out of the way early. So, yeah, we got to go back and go east for the next one. But at least it's not in the middle of the season. It's not the wear and tear on the guys. Get this trip out of the way. Is it going to be a tough game? Is it going to be a tough stretch? Absolutely, because prime time in New England isn't going to be the easiest thing either. We're a better team than the New England Patriots on paper, but A, playing in Foxborough is not easy, and B, playing at Foxborough on Sunday Night Football is not going to be easy either. You know they got this one circled on their calendars. So you got the back-to-back road games before you finally get to be home for week 3 against the Broncos. Like I said, not going to go into too much details on all of the games, but that's a team that struggled last year that they're trying to bounce back as well. And then you go straight back to the road to face the Buffalo Bills, who's pretty much the odds-on favorite to win the AFC East. But if I had to choose between playing the Bills in week 4 versus week 15, 16, and 17, give me week 4 all day. I want to get that potential cold weather game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into that 4th quarter of the season. Get that one out of the way for me. Let's go into the 2nd quarter. Because the thing you're going to notice is 3 out of the next 4 are at home. Obviously, we got to level things out at some point because you're home against the Giants and Panthers. You're at Philadelphia, and then you're back home against the Patriots. So you do have a common opponent from that first quarter in New England. We're getting them out of the way within the first 8 games of the season. But if you look at the Giants and the Panthers, you look at those games, you say, we're at home, we're the better team on paper. Don't have a letdown. You just can't have a letdown against those teams, especially when you're looking at who's next on the calendar. And man, that game against the Eagles, I'm going to talk about some of the games I'm looking forward to, the tougher games on the schedule. If you're looking at non-divisional games, that game against the Eagles is right up there. And there's one in the next quarter we'll talk about as well. But the storylines write themselves. It's Dolphins, Eagles, two teams that are anticipated and expected to be pretty good this year. And it's Tua and it's Hurts and their entire history with each other. We'll be talking a lot about that one in the future, but I'm super looking forward to that one. I did have that one chalked up as a loss, I think, on my win-loss record. But then, like I said, then you've got the Patriots as well. And the thing about this game against the Patriots, it is nice that you're back at home and everything, and it's the second time that you're seeing them. But it is a potential track game because look who's next. In the third quarter, as the third quarter of the season starts, it's the Chiefs. It's the reigning Super Bowl champions. Oh, yeah, and it's in Germany. So, yeah, we do get the bye week the next week, but at the same time, it is the Eagles are a tough opponent on our schedule, and the Chiefs are right there as well. Obviously, it's last year's reps in the Super Bowl, and now you got to go over season plan. It's nice that, obviously, yeah, you get the built-in bye week after that. However, that's still not going to be the easiest task. But I am looking forward to that Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes matchup with the Chiefs as well. We're all looking forward to that one. After the bye week, yes, you do get to go home against the Raiders, take care of a lesser team. The nice thing about this one is it's a conference team. So you want to take care of your lesser teams, especially the ones that are in the AFC that could be vying for potential wild card spots as well. With the Jets, we talk more about that schedule here. So now not only do you have a road game against the Jets, but it's that Black Friday game, which means a short week as well. And we all know the Jets are drastically improved. And we all know that the Dolphins don't always historically play well on the road against the Jets as well. So that one's not going to be easy. One that we're all definitely looking forward to, though, that first ever Black Friday game. And then you got the Commanders, another case where you got to beat the lesser opponent. I don't mind the Commanders, quite honestly. A lot of their season's going to be on the back of Sam Howell. We'll see how that goes, but with how difficult this year's Dolphins schedule is, I don't want to call it a must win, but a game you definitely should win based on the opponent. So the fourth quarter, you got 5 games in the fourth quarter. Obviously, now that we play 17 games versus 16, that's how the math works. But favorable stretch for the Miami Dolphins. And what I mean by that is when the season schedule comes out back in like draft time in that April, May time period, whenever that was, I always look for a couple of things. And one of the things I look for is how does the season end? You're a Dolphins fan. You know that we don't really travel well, play well on the road, inclement weather in those December, January games. So if you've ever seen more of a favorable stretch to end the season, you are looking at it right there. It's 4 out of your last 5 at home. And the road game there is against the Ravens, where, yeah, it's probably going to be shit weather. But you know what? It's one bad weather game. It's one potential bad weather game where it could have been bad weather games against maybe a team like the Ravens, but also the Bills, the Jets, the Patriots, those in-division teams where it just gets all that much trickier, all that much more stuff and things on the line as well. But the thing about this stretch run is if you're on top of the division, this stretch run lends you that opportunity to remain up on top of that division. And let's just say, yeah, the Bills live up to expectations and the Jets too, and you're in a complete just dogfight for this division, for playoffs, for seeding. Here's your opportunity. Here's your opportunity to maybe you don't win out, but if you can win 4 out of these 5, you're going to put yourself in a nice position when it comes time for the playoffs. You look at the Titans. We don't have to talk much about this one. At home, Miami, Monday night. Let's get that taken care of business. Then you got the Jets, which is technically, if you remember back to the third quarter, the second time in a 4-week span. This time it's at home. Your opportunity to just bury a team at home in division in December. Gotta love that opportunity. The Cowboys are going to be a tough opponent. That's going to be a good test against a non-division team, against a team that a lot of people think are going to be one of the top 5 teams in the NFC. A good measuring stick game there against the Cowboys. Like I said, the Ravens historically, Miami hasn't fared well against the Ravens, especially in Baltimore. However, we have won those last 2 games, those crazy-ass games. 2 years ago, it was the Thursday night game where Tua came in after Brissett got hurt. And then, obviously, we all know the 6th touchdown performance from Tua last year against that game. So hopefully we can carry that momentum against the Ravens onto that one. But the other thing about the Ravens there, that's a big-time seeding game. When it comes to the playoffs, I expect a big bounce back from the Ravens. I think they're going to have a pretty nice season. That game could be super important for seeding purposes as well. And then when you wrap things up against the Bills, like I said, it's a tough opponent, but it's January in Miami against the Buffalo Bills. This is not at Buffalo. This isn't what we had to face last year when we damn near pulled that off against Buffalo. This time it's at home. And if the season's in your hands, if it's in the balance, what better way than against a team in your division, in your conference, at home in January? So real quick, I'll just touch on how the playoffs played out, because obviously after all of that, I had the Dolphins going 12-5, which was good enough for the 3 seed, which gave them a home game against the New York Jets. So a third time against the opponents. Based on my win-loss predictions, we were 1-1. Well, we're now 2-1. We won that one wild card weekend. Like I said, my predictions, maybe a little bit homerish this year. I'll get into that here in a minute. That led us to a home game divisional round against the 4 seed Jacksonville Jaguars. Chalk that up as a win. Miami Dolphins fans, we made the AFC Championship game in my scenario here. I will say that all my time predicting Miami Dolphins win-loss, playoffs, everything, I've never had the Miami Dolphins going this far in my simulations. So take that for what it's worth. But I had us in the AFC Championship game once again at home, because I had the Los Angeles Chargers beating the Kansas City Chiefs. My theory behind that one is Chiefs can't win every year, right? I mean, that can't possibly happen, right? So if it's Dolphins Chargers AFC Championship game, I did have the Dolphins beating the LA Chargers. However, I had us coming up one game short. I had us falling to the Eagles for the second time in the Super Bowl. Like I said, we're really getting out. We're really getting out there right there, trying to predict stuff that's going to happen in January and February. But I got to have a prediction. I got to throw something out there. So why not? Let's go all in this year. Let's make a Super Bowl run. Let's make a damn Super Bowl run, Miami Dolphins fans. I'll drink to that one with the old Dolphins cup. But that is what I got. Like I said, go ahead, subscribe, leave your comment. How do you think the team's going to do? Leave your predictions in the comments. Every comment you leave between now and when the Miami Dolphins wrap up their game week 2 against the Patriots, you'll get qualified for a chance to win that Jalen Waddle autograph picture as well. But that is what I've got for today, Dolphins fans. And until next time, fins up.